So we're gonna go for a walk. This is not going to be a long one because of the heat. It is 88 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, what was that, 31 degrees? No, 20, I don't know, I can't remember. But I'll look it up in a minute. It's according to, come here, Dakota. Dakota, come over here. According to the Weather Channel, it's 93 degrees, which is, with the humidity, feels like 103, it says. So we're going to do a quick one, just a loop, and I'll take you with me. And I had to stop it. Scoop some poop. So, yeah, I was right. It was 31 degrees Celsius at 88 degrees, which I don't know. Maybe that's just what it was in the shade at my house, but it may be cooler than that 93 degrees that the Weather Channel's reading. Is from the airport, which is higher altitude, absolutely zero shade anywhere close to it. You know, obviously, International Airport, very large, flat place. We're in that little E. Leland Taylor Park, which, you know, it's a little bitty park. There's a girl over there playing, and there's one of those splash pads with her beagle that just stood there and watched us walk by. So that is a good dog. I'm guessing that this is a gymnasium in here. It doesn't seem like there's ever any events that are inside. They played football out here. They've never played baseball as far as I know. I mean, they probably did decades ago, but so this is Boys and Girls Club, Shawnee Boys and Girls Club, and I know they have like daycare stuff going on in there, in this part, but I really don't know what this big. It's got to be a gymnasium. One of these days I gotta drive over here and look inside when I don't have Dakota with me. But I never think to do it. We are coming over onto 36th Street? Yeah, this would be 36th Street here. Or would it be 38th? No, this is 38th. And these little houses all along through here. Once again, kind of similar design. All got this little odd back on them. All right, most of them do. And where's Dakota? Oh, she wants to stop and sniff something. So we're going to go over that way, probably all the way to Northwestern Parkway. And Dakota, come on. You don't need to go back there. Nope, there she goes. Oh well. Just gotta chase something. I'll just wait for her and I'll bring you back once we're down a little ways on 38th. So this is Wewoka Street. There's a skateboard back here behind me. So decided to take a little bit of a diversion so we can get a little bit of distance, but I'm definitely not going to do a walk like I usually do on Sundays because it's just too hot, and she's a black dog. Come on. She's already starting to lag behind, and we're like maybe a mile into this, if that far. Kind of doubt we're even that far into it. We've walked over this way before, so I'm going to, I think I've commented on that dead tree up there. But it's really pretty. Thankfully, it's about, I guess they would call this partly cloudy. There's, looks like about a third of the sky is clouds. But the sun keeps going behind clouds, which is a relief. And then it comes out like it just did, and it's hot. Apparently this heat wave is going all the way up to Chicago, up in that area, and they're actually under the worst heat advisory than here. We're I can't remember what the gradations are. We're the next to the highest of the 4 levels of warning. I think up in Chicago it's called extreme. Yeah, yesterday, last like mile and a half from the and we came back just as directly as I could. Coming back from the park, Dakota was dragging. I finally put her on the leash so that we could actually get home quickly. Otherwise, she was just gonna dawdle in all the shade, and it actually worked out great because every time we would leave the shade, she would accelerate to a trot, which I could barely walk fast enough to keep up with her. I almost jogged, but I know better. With the way my neck is, I would be in a world of hurting. It's a shame. I really miss running, but my neck will just not let me do it. If I run a mile at any decent clip, my hands start to go numb. So I've had to switch over to just walking. Now you can tell how hot it is since there's nobody outside. There's somebody going from their car to their house. There's somebody walking who probably does not have a car, carrying groceries. It will be worse next month and in August, but this is pretty sudden and hot. I think I commented last weekend on this biker place. I think this is the same one. It was Phantom Louisville that had a place over there on 38th Street, which I just realized today is not there anymore. It was a fairly big building. It looked like, may have been a church originally. That kind of like big storage area, big meeting area in the front, and then like 2 stories in the back, like an enormous Camelback. Anyway, I just realized that that lot had been cleared. It has it's got straw on it and grass seed. The grass is already coming up, so it's probably been a few weeks, if not a month, since they tore it down. And I just now realized that that's what was there. Come here, Dakota. Let's go across. Come here. Hey. Come here. Come. Meet me at the corner. Come, Dakota. Come, right here. She's confused. How's it going? Good. Ready? Come on, let's go. This is kind of a funky little area. I'd like to get my hands on this building. It's big enough to live in and have a nice building, workshop, company thing. This is the back of houses and off of this alley. This is really like a strange little cul-de-sac that's back in here. This alley goes to it, and this street over here goes to it. But then the alley over here to the left is blocked. So it's fine for walking and bicycles and stuff, but not for vehicles. But I mean, this would be, if that was where you had a business, this would be pretty useful for turning trucks around and parking and whatnot. And then there's this great big empty lot. Oh, good, it's been mowed recently. They let it get really high. So I don't know. I guess this would be, I don't know if the address would be on this street or if it would be on that street over there. It's kind of a funny little tiny street. It dead ends over here. Northwestern Parkway is over on the other side, but I think it just turns into backyards for houses that are on there. What you doing, Dakota? We're gonna turn and head back pretty soon. Come on. Boy, she's already hot. Ah, poor dog. Yeah, I'm gonna get her a cooling vest. I've come to the conclusion that that is be a smart thing to do if we're gonna continue getting in some good long walks during the summer. She's about 5 years old now, so she's hit adult. Yeah, this is isn't this strange? This road just ends over there, and then you can see there's the back of houses on the other side of these. It looks like a trailer. It's up in the air. Yeah, there's just it's great big lot. Probably several of them. Yeah, I'd be curious as to know what's going on with that. But anyway, here's this little tiny street with all these little tiny houses. They're mostly pretty neat. Oh, those are pretty lilies. Now on this side, this is the back of houses. I guess these are on Northwestern Parkway. So it's like an alley on the left, and on the right, it's a street. Yeah, Northwestern Parkway's right over there. We are just yeah, we're past the I think we're past the golf course. It might be golf course right on the other side of those trees. Oh yeah, I think the levee's over there. Anyway, so yeah, all these cute little houses. The blooming hostas. Alrighty. We'll come back later once we're on Northwestern Parkway and show you some of that. Okay, so this is Northwestern Parkway. There's an empty lot next to that house. I just realized that walking behind it just now. Pretty rare for there to be any empty lots along through here. This right here is an old house. It is, I mean, this foundation has been stuccoed over. It's probably stacked stone. But yeah, this is I mean, it's from the 1800s, I'm sure. What part of it is anybody's guess. No, you can't go down in there. I don't know about these. These look like they're from the 19th century, but it's kind of hard to tell. They've all got various kinds of siding on them from aluminum, and this one's got some asbestos siding on it, which is I had to do some repairs on a house in Savannah, Georgia that had asbestos on the sides of it, and that was not fun. You gotta wear a respirator and a Tyvek suit that you've got to be taped into, and you got to double bag everything, and the bags have to be less than 20 pounds, I think, and then it has to go to a special dump because even though we knew that it was deadly, money talks and crime pays. So this is the very end of the Watterson Expressway where it switches there, where asshole hate those motorcycles. So this is the off ramp from 64 at the Sherman Minton, and that's the beginning of the Watterson. And this is where that's the on ramp to I-64 headed towards the west. The one we just walked under is from the west. This part comes from 64 traveling west, and then that one on the other side there goes to 64 east. So there's that interchange explained. Yeah, this is the Watterson Expressway is also called, I mean, not also called, it's the I-264 bypass around the city. They never should have built 64 through the middle of here. They should have just run it around on on what's 264, because they destroyed the riverfront. And there's been attempts ever since I moved here, and probably going well back before that, to have the I-64 removed from the waterfront, but that'll never happen. I mean, it might if we have a huge shift in the politics of this country, but I doubt that'll happen. Yeah, Dakota's really starting to drag now. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to that shady side over there, and then we'll take a right and go into that old cemetery. Let's see if I can't find that woman steamboat captain's thing, her monument gravestone. So I'm going to pause it for a little while. I'll be back. I wonder what this is all about. It's been found to pose a risk to people and or property. I really can't see anything that's wrong with it. I mean, there's one little dead bit of limb out there, but that's, I don't know, maybe something's going on with the roots, or it's got a disease. Stop to do that, and Dakota's just camped out in the shade up here. Those are some pretty lilies. They've got a, is that echinacea maybe that's come up? None of my coneflowers seem to have survived being transplanted over to the place I am. My irises, on the other hand, they are an explosion out in front of that house. Of course, they're done. I've just got a few daylilies that are up. I thought I had planted more of those too. And she's, okay, she decided to come along. This is a pretty street down through here. I think I walked down through here the other day, but Northwestern Parkway is always enjoyable to look at. Even in the, see, these are old shotguns. These are very reminiscent of the, well, see, this is the original windows, and then this is what they did to just so many of these houses back in the 70s. Instead of replacing the old tall original windows. And the thing with those old tall original windows, and you can see the see, they also on this one they covered up the transom, but the transom's still on the other door. And what they would do is in the summertime you would crack the bottoms of these windows and then open the tops, and you would open the transom, and you would probably open the door too. They had a lot of these would have had shutters that you could close that were louvered, and then he would open up the tall windows at the back the same way, and the cooler air would come in the bottoms of the windows and the hot air would go out the top. So you would get, I guess that's convection air movement to try to sort of mitigate the temperatures inside. Of course, it was also probably 10 degrees cooler this time of year back in the olden days, and I doubt they rarely got up above 95 back in the summers, whereas now we get up over 100 at least a few times a year. I guess one of the nice things about being right by the Ohio is that it's the water sort of mitigates the temperature, holds it usually keeps it at worst in the upper 90s, and it'll be over 100 out in the country around here, but or at the airport. But then we'll be fine here, going through the gate. This is somebody really ought to. The city ought to come in here and clean that up. Right over there on the corner, let's see if I can see how to, it's hard to see in the daylight. There's a bar, and it is the whitest bar I have ever seen. I mean, it is some white people that are hanging out in there, which, of course, right next to it, there's like behind that outbuilding that's there, that's part of the cemetery. there is a historic marker for the home of a civil rights activist. I think that woman's, it's either this tall one here or this one is hers. And I'm trying to walk on the feet of the very, very long dead people that are in here. 1989. Let's see if this is her. A lot of veterans in here. Dakota's heading for some more shade. Okay. Oh boy, I can't read this. Yeah, I cannot read that. Let's see on the other side. Boy, this is even worse. So, I don't know which. It is a substantial piece. Maybe this is it. I have to see what it says for the name. Dakota has headed off for that tree to lay down. So I'm going to pick her up, head over to 35th Street. I'm going to pick her up, but I'm going to walk past her and have her follow me. Some pretty old gravestones in here. That's a nice Mason's. Where's another Mason's? Actually, is that Mason's? It's like the Anheuser-Busch logo. No, that's a Maritime? Is that what that is? The compass with the chains? And definitely German. Eisenminzer. I don't know what the Jewish population ever was in the West End. I haven't seen a Jewish cemetery out this way. William Stefanzi, 1884. It's 1890. So there's two. Now there's another one here, 1896. I could have sworn that I saw. Yeah, there's the Masons. Yeah, so that is a Masons thing. This is kind of unusual. It's a little bit more angular than that one is. Wonder if they changed the angle at some point for some mysterious reason that has to do with the number 23. So, Dakota, come on. She just plopped down again. It's like, he's not moving. I'm gonna just stay here. Come on, let's go. Good girl. And go back over here to the pathway. I'm always interested by these old cemeteries. I should go do one of these in Eastern Cemetery sometime, but they don't like you to have dogs in there because, actually, I don't know why. That place is just a nightmare in and of itself. And it's been, what is it, the story of the worst grave desecration in American history is Eastern Cemetery. The owner, apparently for decades, had been burying bodies on top of bodies. They bulldozed a slave graveyard. You can find in the woods along the edges of the cemetery, you could see where they literally just threw gravestones in piles before they dug a hole, and they would just use their backhoe to crush the tops of the coffins that were in there, and then put a little bit of dirt in the bottom, and then stick another coffin on top of it, and then every few years they would do this again. So there were up to 4 bodies in single graves, and it has something like 3 times as many bodies buried in it as it should. The crematorium apparently was without gas to run the ovens. And come on, let's go. Let's head home. We're almost home. And when I used to live right next to it, and one of my neighbors was there when this all went down. He said that and the crematorium is all the way at the back of the cemetery, which is a pretty big cemetery. I mean, it's almost a mile to the back of it. There were hearses lined up out onto the what street is that's in front of that? Baxter, and down the block they like brought in every hearse from counties all around, all over the city, just all of them, and they were just lined up taking the bodies out of the crematorium, which were just rotting inside because they couldn't burn them. There were, I remember, come on. So in the basement of the crematorium, there was stacks of gravestones, grave markers for veterans that had been delivered, but they didn't know where the graves were, or the graves had been reused already. So they just stacked them up, and then they were also in the outbuilding where they kept like the mowers and stuff like that. So apparently, when the thing reached a head, the guy that owned it emptied out the bank accounts, turned them into cash, and disappeared. And I don't think he's ever been caught. If he has, I've found no mention of it, and I've looked, because that is just crazy. And I do not know why there's not a book written about it. I'll tell you what, if there's any publishers out there that'll pay me to do it, I'll spend a year and research it and write one, because it's quite an awful story. I mean, there were all these shared plots. Yeah, I know it's hot. We're almost home. There are all these shared plots, where like the husband's buried there, and it's got the name of the wife, but she's not buried there because they closed the cemetery. And you can tell that the man was buried there like just a few years before they closed it. Like died in the early 80s. And I think it was the late 80s or maybe the early 90s that it was closed. See, I should know these things. But memory is not all that great. It's been years since I read up on it, but still quite the kind of horrible story. I still think that one of the biggest travesties is the slave graveyard, which apparently was marked by wooden markers. And they just literally bulldozed the whole thing down. Last time I was in there, which has been over a decade probably, there were still wooden crosses on some graves, and there were some graves that had, it was a poor person's graveyard. Some of the stones were concrete, which concrete does not last sitting out in the sun, and especially if it's not very well done. And these were all obviously made by hand by somebody with a bag of Quickcrete or whatever, and they would hand inscribe the names and the death dates and stuff, and but then they crumble and fall apart, and you just have like part of the name. So Dakota's trying to get up here to the shade. Gotta hurry. We are really close to being back to the house. So I'm gonna just go ahead and close this. Thanks for coming on this shorter walk with me. It is June 22nd, so we're a little bit past high noon from the looks of the shadows on the day after the longest day. So the sun's just about as directly overhead as it's going to get here. Imperceptible difference for anybody just walking around. It is at least fairly breezy, and it is hot, and it's supposed to be hotter tomorrow. Oh, Queen Anne's lace. And so yeah, we'll go. So it's 35th Street over here. It's 34th Street over here, but the next street over is 33rd Street, which is a little bit off. It's off of this alley on the other side of the next street. So, and then 35th Street is on the other side of the interstate behind my house. And it dead ends at the little Leland Taylor Park. So I would really like to be able to find out why these streets are so weirdly offset down here. I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with the train thing over there, train yard. And that train yard's been there forever. I'm sure that, you know, the wrong side of the tracks. Come on, let's go in the back door. Let's go this way. Come on. Hey, this way. Come on. So, that's it for today's walk. Like I said, it really is pretty out here, but man, it is warm. I kind of like to go canoeing, but I don't have nobody to ride in the front seat with me right now. It would be a good day to get out on the water, that's for sure. You need a kayak. You can do that by yourself. So yeah, we'll go down this alley, and then it goes into the back corner of my yard. Sadly, too small to get a car through. So kind of useless except for to walk up to, or if I had a motorcycle, but I do not, and probably never will. But hope you have a great Sunday and a great week, and I will talk to you next time.